DMP, what is the philosophy of Oracle in dealing with marketing in general and DMP in particular. So talking about the larger umbrella, which is Oracle Customer Experience, and the topic of today, which is Oracle DMP. Sample customer journeys, some success stories in the automotive sector specifically, and I can share in other sectors as well. Going not so deep in the solution overview, so I'll make it a bit high level today. We can go in deeper details in other sessions, and then going through a very quick demo. If you wish to see the interface and how it works, we can go into a very quick overview demo on the platform itself. So before I start, if you want to share any expectations, if you want to change anything in the agenda, it's your meeting. I'm flexible to cover any topic you want, or you want to ask any questions. Maybe before we start, just let me know. Okay.
Silence. Oh, yes, we don't have any questions.
Yeah, it's fine. So if you have any question, just stop me and ask the question. Let's make it interactive. Or simply you can drop the question in the chat or in the Zoom window, and I'll make sure to cover any question, any concern, any use case you want to discuss through this session. So before I go into DMP, just I want to share with you what is the strategy of Oracle Customer Experience, which is now one of the top focus in Oracle. I would bet that maybe a couple of years ago, if you ask anybody about Oracle, they will say, okay, maybe Larry Ellison, we know Larry Ellison from Oracle. Maybe we know Oracle Database and we know Oracle ERP. Maybe 5 to 10 years, this was the strategy of Oracle, and this was the main focus of Oracle. But now Oracle, we have a very huge focus on customer experience. We have a suite of platforms and products focusing only on customer experience. And this is one of our main priorities in this part of the world and throughout the globe as well. The reason behind that is that we understand that there is a huge focus on customer experience. So talking about marketeer, I'll talk about myself as a marketeer before joining Oracle. So as Oracle, we serve all kinds of marketeers, B2B, B2C, sometimes B2B2C, global brands, government institutes, and many others. So every business has its unique challenges. So in automotives, it's different than retail, it's different than government and so on. But the only thing that is constant across different industries is that customer expectations. It has changed dramatically. We have all seen that over the past decade. Consumers are changing all the time. Throughout the recent history, this is the part where the customer expectations are really accelerating. Out of 7 billion people on this planet, 5 billion smartphones are there, engaging with digital brands and sharing experiences. And we have seen how Uber, Amazon, Blue Apron, and all of those are working. So we are all becoming addicted to exploring, discovering, connecting with brands, and then buying on the go. But how this is changing, or like data is the way for us marketeers to do this. So whomever have a good amount of data, whomever can deal with the data that they have about their customers, or they can listen to what the data is trying to tell them, those are the brands who were able to win their customers. And now data is the currency of business, as everybody is saying, and it is rephrasing the way that we as marketeers tell stories and engaging with customers online and all that. But there are huge concerns. Consumers have huge concerns on how this data is collected. How are you collecting my data? What are you doing with my email and mobile phone? How are you using my data? Regulatory boundaries are expanding greatly. We heard about GDPR, but now we are hearing about intelligent tracking prevention as an example. We are hearing Google saying that they are going to block third-party cookies in 2022. So many marketeers, as we speak today, are looking inwards and relying more heavily on their own data, the data that they collect, not on anonymous third-party data or third-party cookies or something like that. Marketeers are seeking to maximize the business value of the data that they have, trying to get consents from the customer to use their data in targeting and in personalization and so on. But still, we as marketeer, we think it's easy to deliver data-driven experiences in this digital economy and digital ecosystem. However, consumer feels that we continually deliver unwelcome ads, unwanted offers, disconnected messaging across devices. So you send something on Facebook, and when the customer clicks and engage with you, he receives a push notification maybe, or see an ad on Google that treat him as a complete anonymous while he started engaging with the brand and so on. So still consumers say that, okay, messages are still disconnected, all those emails, all those push notifications are not personalized to me. As a result, they opt out from the channel, or on Facebook, they say, I don't want to see this ad again, or even on Google ads and so on. So disconnected data becomes a huge problem. And disconnected marketing experience make it difficult to still win those customers. So when we think about what are the themes of data management and activation platform, so you might be collecting data on any platform nowadays, but maybe this data resides in data silos. So if you are using Facebook lead ads and you are using Google Ad Manager, both of them are what we call in marketing walled garden platforms. Google will never allow you to take audiences and execute those audiences on Twitter, for example. Facebook will never allow you to extract who liked this page or who liked this post. It all depends on a pixel, and it all depends on using the data in their own walled garden platform. So data is incomplete. If you look at each and every of those marketing silos, data is incomplete, which makes it difficult for you to have holistic understanding of your customer. Who is your customer? And also, if the customer is using multiple devices, myself, I have 5 devices at home. I have a PC, I have a Mac, I have an iPad, an iPhone, and I have another Android tablet. So if you don't link those IDs together to the same customer, still you are not resolving the customer identity. Who is the customer, regardless the device he is using at the moment. And still the message will be inconsistent and inaccurate. So when we are looking at today's solution, it still falls short because it's focusing on creating a data lake. Creating a data lake with inability to resolve IDs to people, with limited insights, and with limited scale in terms of audiences and in terms of matching those audiences with external platforms like Google and so on. So if I have a customer on my CRM, the ID of this customer is, let's say, 123, and I want to target this customer on Google. But on Google, his ID is ABC. So still, if I deliver the audience to Google, Google might not be able to resolve the identity of the customer and do right targeting, which we call the match rate. So what you need is you need a vendor who is connected to the ecosystem, who doesn't work alone in the marketing ecosystem, but a vendor who invests in connecting with Facebook, connecting with Google, connecting with AppNexus, with AdRoll, with all the programmatic display advertisement, search campaign providers, and so on, in order to create this holistic view of the customer. This is our philosophy in Oracle DMP. And sorry for the or thank you for your patience for the introduction. So in Oracle DMP, what we tend to do is we tend to build a connected data activation platform. It's a data activation platform, which means Oracle DMP does not execute campaigns itself, but it collects data, segment the data, and then connect with more than 200 execution platforms like Facebook, Google Ad Manager, Display and Video 360, AppNexus, and lots of execution platforms, resolving the identity of the customer across the ecosystem. So we disconnect the data collection from the data execution. You can collect the data from one source, but execute this data from the other source. It doesn't matter that you collect this data from Google, then you have to execute it on Google. No, we have integration with Facebook Pixel. We have integration with Google advertising IDs. We can collect the data, segment the data, and then do cross-channel orchestrated campaign because of the agreements we have done with all those ecosystems and because of the identity graph that we have built in the DMP. which makes different IDs linked to the same customer. So we understand that this customer have different identifier, we resolve those identifier, and we will be able to do a cross-channel targeting campaign. So if we look into how DMP can empower you as Zuba Group or Auto Zubak or NeoStar or any of your brands, how DMP can provide you deliver personalization at scale. So first, it's the data first approach. Oracle is a data company. We started in 1977 with a database, relational database. So data is in our DNA. Now we reshaped our identity from being a database company into a data company. We can take the best of your assets. If you have a CRM, if you have a mobile app, an online portal, we take the best of those assets, tag them with our tags, and bring the data together to create something that is greater than the sum of each and every part. Something more meaningful, so you can do your tagging, segmentation, data delivery. So with the purpose of this data unification, enrichment, and activation, it gives you more control over ad distribution and audience definition. It helps you improve your customer experience and drive ROI. We understand that every marketeer is looking for what is the return on my advertisement spent, which is the ROAS KPI. So in order to manage the return on advertisement spent, you need to make sure you are targeting the right audience with the right message, and you are excluding audiences that either already bought the product, or already bought a new vehicle, or already bought a new tire or a new maintenance contract for their car, or those who never respond on this channel. So you stop targeting them on this channel, try other channels, or even exclude them completely from your campaigns in order to optimize your advertisement spend. So I've mentioned data first company. We have a strategy that we are an open and agnostic platform. If you ask anybody in Oracle, what is your recommendation on a programmatic execution platform? Shall I use Google DoubleClick? Shall I use AppNexus? Our response is always, we don't advise on one execution platform over the other. We are an agnostic platform. We have an agreements with lots and lots of execution platforms. We deal with them all the same, and we can create a cross-channel, cross-brand campaign. So it's the fastest time to value and highest deliverability you can get. It's an integrated platform. So we even have integration with Adobe Test and Target. Adobe is our competitor, but we have an integration with Adobe Test and Target, for example. We have an integration with Microsoft Media Network. Microsoft is a competitor for us in marketing, but we have created this integration because you as a marketeer, it doesn't matter who is competing with what. You need to have a full system that is integrated. So let me stop here and ask you if you have any question about our strategy and how our DMP is positioned. Any questions? Do you need me to go faster, slower, go more into details? Let me know how would you like this session to go.
Okay, for me it's good so far.
Yeah, for me also.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's great. So before going into the details of the platform itself, we are committed to customer experience, not only to Oracle Database or Oracle ERP, which we are very famous of. We are investing around $6 billion a year in ad tech and martech innovations. We are doing lots of acquisitions. We have done 12 acquisitions in the past 6 years. And we are doing those integrations, those agreements in order to bring the best of the breed on your table. So if we look into what is the history of those spent and those acquisitions, so we started building our ad tech and martech ecosystem 9 years ago in the year 2010. Lots of acquisitions and lots of internally developed products by Oracle. So the DMP that we are talking about now was an acquisition in the year 2014 on top of Gartner in data management platforms, responses was added in the year 2012. Infinity in the year 2017. Infinity is a big data platform. You already have it, which do real-time analytics on the journey. Even when everybody was saying that targeting individuals is not the way to go in the next 5 years, but contextual targeting is rising. So regardless who is the individual, you need to target someone you don't know who is in a specific content on a website. We acquired Grapeshot. Grapeshot is an acquisition for context targeting and brand safety. Moat is a B2B audience data for B2B. We acquired also Moat, DataFox. We acquired also Moat for cross-platform intelligence. And then we have built CX Unity, which is the customer data platform, the most complete customer data platform in the market today, CDP, built by Oracle, and also CrowdTwist, which is the top leader on Gartner for many years in loyalty. So you are partnering with Oracle, who is putting all these investments with all those bunch of products and features for customer experience and only customer experience. So by having a DMP, we are not a standard DMP like most of the local DMPs in the market. So our commitment to deliver is that we give your user more choice. So we start by doing data collection and getting the consent from the user, enabling your user to access the data from whenever they want. So whether accessing the data from the UI, we have a layer of APIs that allow us to integrate with other platforms as well to read data, integrate data, and so on. In terms of identity management, we have built this ID graph. So to accommodate different IDs for the same user who is using different devices. So we built this ID graph. It was one of our innovations in order to make our DMP more differentiated and more unique. And then this is the road into creating a full customer experience and going maybe into a customer data platform like Unity in the future to have the 360 view of the customer. So all the past slides were talking about our vision and how we see our DMP in the market, how we understand that we are not alone in the marketing ad tech and MarTech ecosystem, and why we build all those integrations. In the next couple of minutes, I'll take you through sample customer journeys and what is the value of having a DMP on those customer journeys before going one step deeper into the solution itself and how it works and so on. Let me hear your questions first and then go into the next chapter of the presentation. So far so good. Any questions?
No.
No, from my side, no. So far so good, as you said.
Okay, thanks a lot. So if I imagine the segment and one of the audiences who is Maria, having 2 kids, looking for a bigger car for her growing family. One of the segments, very few data about this customer, and we need to drive the sale or the transaction booking through segmentations. So you will have the ability to create different segments on the DMP, including high value segment, for example, your high value customers based on the customer lifetime value, based on the customer engagement, clicks, opens, and different signals that the customer send you. So you will be able to create those segments, even if you sent an ad to a customer and this customer provided an impression, he has seen the ad, but he didn't click through or the ad itself. This is another signal that the ad might have been sent in the wrong time during working hours. The customer don't click on ad during working hours, or on the wrong channel. I never open ads from my business laptop, for example, but I can open the same ad from my mobile. Or the customer is simply not interested in what was offered in the ad. So if the customer clicked or didn't click, this is a signal that you can store inside the DMP. It means something about the customer, and you can use this signal to include the customer or exclude the customer from your next campaign to test and optimize. So Maria, because she bought a sedan car a couple of years ago, she changed her tires. So she is part of our high value segment. What we do is that we start personalizing the messages. She is not a new customer. There is a profile, there is a history of clicks. Maybe she has been exploring an SUV for a couple of months now. She has seen on and off some SUV models for a couple of months. So from the DMP, you can understand that this is still a wish list. She is not in the decision phase. She is not in the phase to buy. Based on what? Based on the recency of her viewing and the frequency. If I'm buying a car, I'll spend whole day checking specs, looking for photos, searching online, clicking on ads, and so on. So you can understand where is the customer now in his buying journey, and then provide him the content that is personalized to this part of the customer journey. So if you have an identifier like her email, for example, you can action on those micro moments. If she was providing the interior, she was viewing the interior of the car and the specs of the car, you can orchestrate with a campaign management solution like Oracle Responses, which you have already, in order to send her more information about what she was viewing some moments ago, even in real time. You can orchestrate that with Google Display and Video 360. So the next time she goes into a news website or fashion website or any third-party website, she finds a display ad which is relevant for what she is looking for. And then if she abandoned the journey, you can still provide retargeting on social media like Facebook and so on. So you can draw the whole journey and provide this omni and cross-channel campaigns. Thanks to the unified customer data inside the DMP, the cross-channel orchestration, and the real-time event capture you get from Oracle Infinity. Oracle Infinity is a big data solution that provides real-time flow of data or streams of data. In milliseconds, you get to know that the customer hovered on this image, the customer clicked on this image, the customer opened the mobile app, the customer clicked on this email, or so on. So you get this real-time event capturing, and you do audience activation on social, search, display advertisement based on those insights. The same customer, if they bought a car already and you want to upsell or cross-sell tires, services, maintenance, contracts, and so on. So you can start providing awareness. So sending awareness campaigns that, okay, you will need to do the first maintenance in 6 months, and start providing awareness about warranty coverage, about service coverage, and so on. And then when the customer takes the decision, you can influence the decision and do your upsells and cross-sells through a loyalty mobile app, through push notifications, in-app notifications, and so on. So we can do mobile app targeting. We have this ID graph to connect the mobile to the email, to the web, and still the cross-channel engagement is what we do best. So this customer journey, if we take this customer journey into a solution landscape, from an anonymous customer to a known customer to a loyal customer or a cared for customer or an advocate. The DMP is at the middle. You connect the data from the CRM, from the website, from different sources. You activate this data on search, social display, or whatever. When the customer clicks and land on the website, landing pages developed by responses, you listen to the real-time triggers and the web analytics or the mobile analytics, and so on. And then you feedback the DMP. You put a feedback. Did the customer click? Did the customer open? You put the feedback to the DMP. You can do A/B testing. You can do optimization and so on. And when the customer is known customer, you can store personal identifiable information in responses, and then you use responses, audience designer, dynamic content, you build journeys on responses, you look for analytics and so on. And then you send back the data to DMP, maybe for lookalikes, actalikes, and so on. Even your customer service can integrate with the DMP. So you need to understand which customers are frustrated, they are opening tickets, they are calling the call center. So you stop sending them upsell and cross-sell ads until their issues are resolved, because nobody will buy more if he's frustrated or if he's having an open ticket and so on. So the customer service even can integrate with the DMP to push data about open tickets, to push data about customer satisfaction, to push data about customer surveys, so you can take that in consideration in marketing. Also, when you expand to a loyalty platform like CrowdTwist, DMP and CrowdTwist can work together to understand how many loyalty points the customer currently have. If the customer is having 1,000 loyalty points, 2,000 loyalty points, or whatever, you can push targeted ads for him to upsell and cross-sell products that are relevant to his loyalty tier and his loyalty points. So those are sample possible journeys that you can do, sample possible integrations that you can do using Oracle DMP. You probably ask how we can do that. So any marketeer, when you are designing a campaign, you have different stages, from seeing who are your audiences to target, the message or the content you need to personalize, and then in real time seeing what's happening, how people are reacting with your campaigns, and then orchestrating, sending thank you emails, sending follow-up emails, and so on, and then optimizing and analyzing the performance. We have tools that will help you with each and every stage of launching a campaign, from the campaign designer in responses to the content personalization, again in responses, real-time triggering in Infinity, the orchestration, the optimization and analysis in DMP, and so on. So we have tools to help you with every stage in launching a campaign. Talking about our ID graph, and I'll show you an example today for the ID graph. Everybody is talking about the death of third-party cookies, and that the ad industry is gonna get affected heavily with the death of third-party cookies in 2022. We in Oracle DMP, we stopped relying at the third-party cookie being the unique identifier of the user, maybe in the year 2018. Even in the absence of a third-party cookie, we can still have other identifiers that can go up to a PlayStation ID, an Amazon Fire Stick ID, Samsung Smart TV ID, mobile advertising ID, and lots of identifiers that we can have with the user, even in the absence of a cookie. And then we build those around a single user, building this ID graph. So even if it's mobile IDs, console IDs, Google advertising IDs, and so on, we have all of that in our ID graph. And then we have our integrated activation partners, which means we have an app inside our DMP for each and every logo you see on our screen, whether they are programmatic, whether they are media partners, social partners, mobile, site optimization partners. We have an app in order to deliver audiences, so you can launch campaign on any of those logos. So you are not tied to one DSP, you are not tied to one execution platform. That's why we mentioned at the beginning that we are a technology agnostic marketing platform. Let's have another break for questions. Do you see what you are seeing on the screen? Is it relevant to your business? Is it relevant to the use cases you are having in mind? Do you want me to go deeper?
Yes, I believe it's relevant. That's why we are here today. I like what I see from my point of view.
That's important. That Tony likes it.
That's an honor. As much as you like what you are seeing, we have other customers who also liked what we have done for them. So I'm gonna share some success stories. I've chosen all the success stories today in the automotive industry, but I can share more from other industries if you wish. So Ferrari, they are a customer for Oracle since 2017, so a 4-year customers as of today. They are present in 60 markets and 95% of their sales is outside Italy. So they do huge advertising across 60 markets, especially after adding the Indian market in 2011, Israeli market in 2012, and they have dealership network in Europe, Middle East, Africa, North America, you name it. So we work with them on the cross-channel marketing campaigns from one platform and the personalized content for their campaigns and so on, collecting and storing the data in one location, integration with their dealer communication system, sales system owned by their dealerships across the globe. So we are not allowed to share numbers that we have reached, but you can see the testimonial that we have got from their head of marketing and sales. But if we are talking about other advertisers like Peugeot, so Peugeot, for example, those are some numbers that we were able to achieve. It's a more complex deal or a more complex project because they wanted to expand from 19 countries to 35 countries and from 400 agents to 1,000 agents. So they have this plan and they have 16,000 dealerships across the world. So we have went through this project. You can see the numbers on the screen in terms of lead generation, in terms of optimization in some KPIs and increase in productivity. So let's take another example. Maybe this is not a well-known logo for those who live outside the United Arab Emirates, Ar-Rustumani Group. But Ar-Rustumani Group is the sole dealer for Nissan, Infiniti, and Renault in the United Arab Emirates. This is a recent project. We also were competing with Salesforce.com, and we did a pilot digital customer acquisition and social marketing for them. We started with Poland, getting data from Polish people, for example, moving into the UAE, doing data sharing and so on. And we have created with them, they had legacy 50 systems. So the customer data was scattered across 50 systems. The customer profile has 350 fields. So whether coming from chat, phone, email, CRM, and so on. So we started with customer profile consolidation. The result was inside the showroom, we built this dealer app. So the salesperson inside the showroom, when the customer come, they have this consolidated view of the customer, including the customer contact, the customer 360, what vehicles the customer has used in the past, and from a click of a button, the salesman or the salesman can invite the customer to an event, to a test drive, or so on, can scan the QR code or the serial number of a vehicle that the customer is interested to and has taken test drive or something like that. So regardless of the type of the industry and regardless of the name of the brand, we are in the business of creating a data hub for you. So the data from NeoStar can act as the data hub and you can use this data even in other businesses or even in other brands. Because we have this second party sharing, data sharing, where you can share data between brands and you can even monetize your data outside of the automotive industry as well. So it's not just a solution for the automotives. We see that you will be in the data business. Besides being in the retail or automotive business, you will be in the data business by building this data hub and collecting the data. I can share another example. We are working with Dubai Tourism. So Dubai Tourism is using our DMP in order to attract tourists to come and visit Dubai. Some of them are visiting Dubai for shopping. Some of them are visiting Dubai for the nice weather and beach. Some of them are visiting Dubai for skyscrapers and Burj Khalifa and so on. So we collected data around 50 million profiles, integrating with airlines and doing partnerships with airlines, with hotel brands and so on, collecting this data, creating the profiles inside the DMP. We started, we reached 50 million profiles, and I think this is a 2 years project till the moment, in a country that is a 9 million or a 10 million population only. And then this data is used with the consent of the user in other advertisements. So when you land in Dubai, you will find a telecommunication company owned by the government offering you tourist SIM cards and so on. So this is like the business of data, regardless what is the industry and what is the use case. Those were some quick use cases. I'm always willing to share more upon your request from any industry. Now I'm sharing like average high-level benefits from our recent customer experience project. From increasing lead conversion to, in the automotive service part, decreasing the job allocation time, increasing customer satisfaction, and even not only in the market, but in the after sales. With the Rostomani in the UAE, we won an award for using the data from the DMP in the after sales and not in the marketing and sales. So it's using data across the enterprise, not only for the marketing. Yes, it's a solution built for marketing, but it can be used for data across the enterprise. I stop here and listen to any questions and then move directly into a live demonstration to see how it works, the look and feel, and so on. So questions?
No questions from my side.
No questions.
Hello.
Okay. Great, thank you. So, sorry, this is... Okay, so Oracle DMP is a web-based platform. So you can access it with your credentials from most browsers maybe. When you log into Oracle DMP, it's clarity from the beginning. You can build some categories, like high-level segments. You can build audiences, and you can see the total reach of each audience. So if audience means segment, in our language, an audience is a segment that you are still planning to target. You can see we have built here some audiences to target with Google ads, some audiences to target with Facebook ads, and so on. And then deliver those audiences on platforms. So we disjoint the audience building from the audience delivery. You can build audience somewhere and then deliver on multiple channels. So I built some audiences and did some campaign deliveries, and I have some categories here. The most important thing about an Oracle DMP it's that it's a learning or it's an optimization journey. You build, execute, then test and optimize. And if you look at this simple DMP menu, it is designed to be the same. I build audiences, I manage my campaigns, and then I test, analyze, and then I optimize. It's a round robin, or it's an ongoing learning cycle of delivering, testing, optimizing. So I have some audiences here, okay? And I did put the tag on the NeoStar portal. And we did what we call in the DMP the taxonomy. So the taxonomy is how myself as a marketeer see the data categorized. Is it per campaign? Is it per demographic? Is it per interest? Is it per car model? Is it per time of the year where the customer buy? So this is the taxonomy, and the taxonomy of data is something that your marketeers will be able to manage. So if I clicked on new audiences to create a new audience, the interface here is very simple. I have my data categories on the left. This is my data. This is the data marketplace if I want to integrate data with another brand or something like that. I can create complex segments here, not just single segment. I can do ands, ors, create my complex segment. And I can exclude those who recently converted, or I can exclude those who never do an action. So in order to optimize my campaign. Once I do that, I can see the total reach. This is my possible reach from the segment that I have created. And the system also calculates an average CPM or a maximum CPM that I'll pay for this data. Let me go and see. This is a taxonomy that we have created on the platform. This is not a black box thing that you can never change, but this taxonomy you can manage it as per your needs. Maybe your strategy change in the next year, your needs for marketing campaigns change, so you can adjust those taxonomies. So it's not a static thing. I have this data for NeoStar, and this is private, which means we never share this data with other customers as Oracle. It's part of the agreement that we never share this data. It's your data. It's your first party proprietary data. Under this taxonomy, we have categorized the audiences maybe by interest, maybe by latest interest. So I might be looking for a sedan car, and then I change my mind and start looking, why don't I get an SUV for my family? Maybe search, maybe logins, maybe searching for tires, searching for vehicles, and so on. So we have done lots of categorizations. We can add, if you want, maybe in the future, to integrate with your customer service or call center, we can add data about recent calls, recent tickets, to understand who is frustrated, who is happy, who is satisfied. So we can stop targeting him, or maybe it's the right time to target him. So I created this, who is interested on selling a vehicle, and then immediately I get a total reach of 5.87K. Okay, who is interested in tires, and so on. I can do ands, so merge two segments together, or I can do ors, so who is interested in selling a vehicle, or buying a vehicle, or buying a service. So I can do an or and get a total reach, or I can look for a union, and so on. So maybe by interest, we have discussed interest, maybe by who is looking for a specific body shape, a limousine, a hatchback, an SUV, or a van, specific brand like BMW, Audi, or any brand. So I can see, okay, who is looking to buy a vehicle, and he is looking for a BMW car. And then I get the intersection total reach here. I can, okay, if it's a used car, who is looking for a BMW, and this is the mileage range. Can I get that? Less than 1K, okay? So this is how I built my audiences, okay? If I have data about sales, so who recently bought, I can exclude. So let me delete this segment, and then I can exclude those who were searching for price ranges less than 70,000 euros, because they are not going to get a BMW with this range, right? So I'm gonna exclude them from my campaign, or exclude those who never click or anything. if I want to stop here and see, adjust the frequency and the recency. So I want to see who was searching in the last 1 day, 7 days, or who was searching in the last 180 days. Maybe it's just a wish list. He comes every now and then, checks some cars, and then he never buys. And also I can adjust the frequency. So who did one impression that he is interested in this type of cars? Who did more than one impression as a minimum or a maximum? So I understand where the customer is in buying journey. I understand that you have expansion plans to other countries. You can filter by country as well, and then apply the settings.
Excuse me, is this for only registered customers or all customers?
That's a very good question. So I understand that you are asking if this for known or anonymous customers as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is for all customers, even if someone has just clicked on an email, landed on a landing page, stayed there for some seconds, and then he closed without providing any type of personal identifiable information. Because if we look back on the ID graph, let me go back to the ID graph slide. The unique identifier of the customer is not any personal identifiable information. It can be his login or email or postal address if he is identified, or it can be just a cookie or a mobile advertising ID, or even a Google advertising ID. And we mention others like PlayStation ID, Smart TV ID. That's why when I look for the ID sources for those 3,000 something, okay, I have some of them, I have third-party cookies. The rest I have mobile cookie ID. I might have Apple IDFA or Google advertising ID or more identifiers inside my graph. So not necessarily known customers with PII data here.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. So now I have lots of audiences, like the audience that I've just created. I have lots of audiences that I have created here, each audience with a specific composition. And I want to deliver to Google. I want to deliver to Facebook. I want to deliver to maybe a programmatic campaign on AppNexus or something like that. So when I select this and I click edit, I can edit the delivery of the campaign to say that I need to deliver the campaign for 1 month or for 1 day or for 1 year or whatever. And then I need to deliver the campaign maybe to Facebook, maybe to Google Ads, maybe to whatever. And this, when we go to our apps, in our app catalog, we have lots of ready-made connections. So if I want to connect to Google, I can just search. We have media targeting apps, search, social, lots of those. So if I'm going to Google Ad Manager, for example, Google Ad Manager accept from us third-party cookies. This is gonna get deprecated next year when Google blocks the third-party cookies, mobile cookie ID, Apple IDs, Google advertising IDs, Apple TVs, Amazon Fire, Android, Chromecast. Those are all the types of IDs that we can exchange with Google, which means we can reach the customer on any of his devices, not only his browser based on his cookie, but also on his mobile, on his smart TV, on his PlayStation, like theoretically. What you need to do is just provide your Google audience link ID here, and then authenticate with your Gmail, and that's it. If I go and see Facebook, okay, Facebook app, maybe it's not yet installed, but I'll show you. Same is for Google search ads. It's by pixel. So we have different ways of delivering the campaigns, like pixel, like pixel or by server data transfer or any other way of delivering that. Let me show you another example. Let me log out from here. And in the login screen, let me log in into another instance. And this is the beauty of it. Now we are working with DMP as NeoStar, but if you are adding lots of brands inside or other brands inside the DMP, maybe when you log in, so this is my login, maybe you'll need complete separation from one brand to another. So I need to completely separate the data from one brand to another. So when I log in into the DMP, it will ask me which brand do you want to issue this campaign? Or maybe you need to use the data across different brands. So now I have different accounts. I have an automotive account, B2B account, education brand, retail brand, and I choose which one I want to use. Or I might have them all in one instance to share the data between brands and create this data hub that we have been discussing. So let me choose this account. So this is a this login is a multi-brand login. So if I go and see like how Facebook campaigns work, so I go again to the app catalog and see how we integrate with Facebook. So we integrate with Facebook Pixel. So you put the Facebook Pixel here. This is the Facebook custom audience pixel. And this is how the integration works. And this is how retargeting on Facebook works. So what we have seen now is building an audience, delivering campaigns, doing the segmentation inside the audience. We have lots of reports. Maybe we don't have enough time to go in on each and every report. Report on audience usage. Report on if you want to monetize the data and sell the data to other advertisers. So a buyer exchange, we have like something like a data marketplace on Oracle DMP where you can go buy and sell data. I'll give you example. If I go here, and this is what we call second party data. So Glassdoor, for example, is selling data on our DMP. Some banks are selling data on our DMP. For sure, they remove any personal identifiable information before they sell their data, but just sell affinity data, in-market data linked to an anonymous identifier like a cookie or a mobile advertising IDs. So one of the reports that we are having is the funnel analysis report. So we all know how a marketing funnel works. From somebody who is interested, just an awareness, then he was targeted with an awareness campaign, then he landed on a landing page or a website, then he added something to his cart, and then he bought, and then he did a second transaction and third transaction and so on. So across the funnel, you define audience A. This is point number A. So audience A, those who I targeted with awareness on a new service or a new car or something like that. Audience B might be those who bought, or those who added something to the cart, or those who clicked on an email. Depends on which part of the funnel you want to measure from point A to point B. Let me show you an example, a screenshot, because I didn't actually run any campaigns on this environment. So let me show you a screenshot on how such reports look like. So the funnel analysis report will at the end give you a quadrant that looks like that. Let me zoom in a little bit. It focuses on from audience A, those were audiences who just have an interest, who are families as demographic composition, to audience B, those who did an action and they are in market of something. We measure the action rate. Action rate might be clicks, might be opens, might be add to carts or any action rate. And we measure the conversion index. So there are lots of customers who will do lots of actions. They will keep clicking on ads, but they will never convert. And customers who can convert from one click, from one action. They receive the ad, they do one action, and then they convert. This funnel analysis show you those who are high on action rate, high on conversion index, those who are low in action rate and low in conversion index. So those might be the audiences that you will either nurture or will either exclude. Each and every bubble of those is a micro segment. So it might be those with higher education. And this is their affinity, this is their action ratio, this is the volume of how many others do we have. Those might be recently employed employees less than 22 years old. So they are dreaming of a car, but they cannot afford a car. That's why they are low. So each bubble of those is a micro segment where you can work on expanding or even excluding as a micro segment. Lots of other reports that we have, but like I just wanted to show you the philosophy behind our funnel analysis versus a normal CRM funnel analysis and our audience generation, execution, and so on. Any questions so far? I don't want to go into deep details. This is just an overview session. So I just want to check if you have any questions.
I just have one question. Everything is possible while you're presenting. You're always saying online impressions, clicks, add to cart. But in Zuba Grupa, our biggest problem is that we have a lot of data that is coming through the offline channel. And my question is, everything that we can get online, we can also place it in Oracle DMP through the offline method.
A very good question. Let me give you an example. So in this automotive example, I think
we don't have anything offline that you can present us on the NeoStar case.
But we have a feature called offline data onboarding. So if I have data in the CRM or even dealers and automotive brands who have showrooms, and there are customers who are visiting the showroom to take a test drive, and this data is usually stored in a dealer management system, DMS system. So we have this offline onboarding capability.
If I may add, regarding NeoStar, if I'm not mistaken, Damir Kadic, there will be some offline data, but prerequisite is that SPAN prepares some load file or whatever. So I think the reason why we don't have offline data in NeoStar is just simply because this is not on a very high priority list. Just for the info, right, Damir Kadic? I'm not sure, but I think this is the situation with NeoStar. Yeah, they will use offline data from.
Yeah, I can confirm. Yeah, they are waiting. Yeah, so it will be onboarded, but it's not in this stage of project for now.
Yeah, we are still in the implementation, so it will be there. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Abdallah, please.
No, it's a good question, and like the capability is there. It's just as discussed, the readiness of data, but the capability of there to onboard offline data and so on. Any question about the demo before I go back to my presentation deck?
No questions. And I have a question regarding the analysis. Each campaign that we deliver, we can track did the user convert offline or online.
So user conversion, we need to define what is our definition of user conversion. So if it is an awareness campaign, user conversion might be that the user landed on the website and stayed more than 5 minutes. If it's a sales campaign, user conversion might be that the user did the actual sales transaction. So what we need to do is that we need to tag, like for example, the home page, and then tag the order confirmation page in order to understand that the user moved from here to there to there. This is for the online. For the offline, we will need to upload the sales data, like who, which users bought what, and link that to an ID. The problem with offline data that the IDs is usually phone numbers and emails. So we hash those phone numbers and emails and upload them, but then we need to link them with a cookie, for example, or any online identifier to understand that the user who viewed this online, he is the same user who did this transaction offline or
Yes.
something like that. And then you will be able to create those reports. Did this answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. And when we click, for example, in audiences, in campaigns, we choose the channel, and when you click deliver, then how we are getting billed? We are paying.
Okay.
Is
Okay. So the Oracle DMP, there are three costs. Just to make sure that there are no hidden costs there are three types of costs. There is the license cost, and this is the only cost that goes to Oracle, which is the annual license cost. Whether you pay quarterly, you pay monthly, you pay annually, it's not the topic here, but this is the license cost. It gives you access, and it gives you up to number of page views per month. I think your license, and I need to double check that, I think your license gives you up to 100 million page views per month. So if all the tagged websites is under the 100 million page views per month, it's covered by the license. If it's more than 100 million page views per month, then I think you may need to go to the next tier of licensing, but this is the first cost. The second cost is the data usage CPM. The data usage CPM, if you are using data that is not your first party data, but you are using data from or buying this data from someone somewhere else, another marketeer, or from Oracle Data Marketplace, which is not our case here. We are working on your data. That's why the CPM here will be always zero. There is no data acquisition CPM. Okay, and this money, if applicable, doesn't go to Oracle. It goes to the data provider. The third type of cost is the execution on Facebook or on Google. It is the same model. When you execute a campaign on Google, Google puts the cost per CPM, and then you pay to Google. Facebook puts the cost per CPM, and then you pay to Facebook. This is the execution cost. It remains the same with DMP or without DMP. Google and Facebook bill you the same way, and it's something that you will do outside of the DMP. And Oracle is not part of your agreement with Facebook and your agreement with Google in terms of campaigns and CPM executions and so on. Those are the three cost dimensions. In your case, they are only two because you are not acquiring data from an external source. It is the license to Oracle and the execution billing on whatever execution platform you are using, Facebook or Google or any other execution platform. Does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. So now coming to the end, I just want to pinpoint on why we think our DMP is differentiated. First thing, it's the real time. Having the data with Infinity, with Oracle Infinity, having the data real time. And by saying real time, we are talking about milliseconds. So getting an action that the user have done inside the DMP in milliseconds with Oracle Infinity. And then when we execute the campaign with server data transfer or Pixel, the audience data is pushed in real time again to the execution platform. Also, we have having those 200 plus integrations with all of those digital platforms and execution platforms, being technology agnostic, and our invention in the ID graph, so understanding the customer 360 whether on his devices, on his TV, on his PlayStation, having all those IDs together gives you differentiated customer service for your customers. Also, I want to pinpoint that we Oracle, it's not only we Oracle that we think we have a great software or something like that. We are on top of the leaders in both Forrester's and Gartner Magic Quadrant in different aspects of digital marketing, from multi-channel marketing to email marketing, to digital experience, to digital commerce, to CRM lead management, web content management, customer service, sales performance management, Salesforce automation, loyalty. We are the leader on those 10 different aspects of digital marketing. So we are covering the digital marketing journey end to end, and we are very proud of being one of the leaders in this area. So this was my overview presentation and demo for today. We can have an open discussion about next actions and about your feedback and your questions. It was a bit of a high level because this was like just an introduction, but we are always ready to go deeper into details upon request. So
thank you, Abdullah. So are there any questions from your side? Additional questions?
I don't have any questions.